This comment is not uncommon. It says we did a walkthrough 30 minutes before closing and then delayed closing because of the stuff the seller did. Things like turned off the utilities and took things they shouldn't have. So this is not uncommon when it comes to walkthroughs. You know, put yourself in the seller's shoes and just think that there's a lot of stuff going on. It might not have been intentional. However, if your contract states that the utilities are to remain on through day of closing, that means utilities stay on all day, meaning they don't go off until 12 o'clock that night of the day of closing. If you send in a repair request or something to address concerns and that seller agreed to make those repairs, they have to be made before closing unless some kind of agreement has come up between you and the seller before closing. So all terms of the contract and addendums have to be met before you can close. So I couldn't imagine the panic that these buyers were in when the utilities were turned off and they were supposed to be on. The seller had took things they were supposed to leave. So that's why it is wise, if at all possible, to do the walkthrough 2 or 3 days before closing and then do what we call the final walkthrough on the way to closing to make sure it is in broom swept condition and in the condition that you and the seller agreed on. So like I always say, never, ever, 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 ever skip your final walkthrough. Whether you do it 2 or 3 days before or 2 or 3 hours before your closing, just make sure you always have that final walkthrough because it will save you a lot of headache after you close.